When we hear about how FEMA's responding to this emergency or that emergency, it's not always just FEMA workers behind the effort. Often they call on the Department of Defense to help out. And that's exactly what happened in the New York City area shortly after COVID-19 started its attack. Colonel Matthew Nafus, a lawyer and Marine reservist who lives in Brighton, was called in to do what he does, lead. So he did. He's now back from that assignment and sat down with me to talk about it.
What was the atmosphere like amongst your men and women?
You know, when I first got there, it was a little tense, honestly, because there's a rush to get help there, to get assistance, primarily, obviously, medical assistance into New York City, and also an apprehension about, you know, what is this going to be like? Nobody knows how this was going to turn out, and frankly, we haven't had a pandemic in 100 years, so. It was a good amount of apprehension.
What is your overall takeaway from what you saw in New York City and New Jersey, the response there in general?
In general, I thought the response was very good. You know, we were able to get about 3,000 DOD personnel, active duty and reservists, primarily medical personnel, doctors and nurses and respiratory therapists, corpsmen and medics, and put them in right away into the area, into the point where there was the greatest need.
Stepping way back, why did you get into the military in the first place?
I always wanted to serve. It was always something that interested me. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to see the world, travel, experience something different.
But you also saw some things that a lot of us don't even want to think about.
You see some things that can be very troubling, and you do your best to put that aside and concentrate on the mission and get the job done.
And how have you been able to do that while maintaining a family? This is a very different type of career.
It's a strain on the family, on my wife and daughter. They've really been very good about it. You have to balance these things. You know, I have to balance 2 jobs and a family, and you just do the best you can.
Yeah, and it takes a certain amount of patriotism on the part of the whole family.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In many ways, they have the harder burden.
I always like to ask this of people in your position, when you think of leadership, what specific qualities are you looking for?
In my mind, a good leader is somebody, one, has integrity and honesty, is forthright, leads by example. It's important to me that you lead from the front, that you don't ask anything of those that you lead that you wouldn't do yourself. You know, for example, you know, we're down in the New York City area providing this assistance. You know, you don't do that from Rochester, New York. You go to the area. You go to, if we're going to ask those doctors and those nurses to go into New York City, to go into Newark, to provide medical assistance, you've got to be down there with them.
So I posted on Facebook earlier this evening about this interview, and a classmate from Sutherland replied to me saying that Nafus had been his commander 20-something years ago, adding, if you're looking for a great leader, look no further than Colonel Nafus. To see more interviews like this one, all you have to do is go to rochesterfirst.com.